Amidst the flow of time. Part 1. Time, it seems, truly flies. Like an arrow shot from a bow, Seung-woo felt the passage of a full year since he had to let go of his wife. His days remained steeped in longing for her. The intensity of his grief was gradually softening, yet the deep affection and the yearning to see his wife were still rooted firmly in the deepest part of his heart. As his wife's first anniversary drew near, Seung-woo felt sincere gratitude towards the few people who remembered his wife and shared in the remembrance. Among them, the person who particularly touched his heart was Hannah, a neighbor they had lived with in Sungdang Jugang apartment during their newlywed days. Hannah had consistently sent messages filled with memories of his wife over the past year, and these messages had been an immeasurable comfort to Seung-woo. Whenever he read the messages Hannah sent, Seung-woo felt a warmth as if his wife were right there beside him. He sent a heartfelt thank you reply to Hannah on his wife's behalf. His reply quietly held his gratitude towards Hannah along with his longing for his wife. Furthermore, Min-soo and Jong-ae had also sent warm messages of comfort, remembering his wife. Seung-woo expressed deep gratitude for their thoughtfulness. The fact that there were people who remembered his wife with him in these difficult and lonely times was a great source of strength for him. That morning for breakfast, Seung-woo took out an instant porridge packet. This porridge was something he had bought several of to quickly finish meals during the time his wife was hospitalized, as he couldn't leave her side. Although it was slightly past the expiration date, the taste was still the same as before. With each spoonful of porridge, Seung-woo often found himself lost in thought. Thinking how he could touch his wife's face, express more love, and speak warm words to her if she were still here, even if just lying in bed. His eyes welled up with moisture. After finishing his meal, Seung-woo gazed out the window for a moment. Amidst the hurried movements of people passing by, he felt as if only he was standing still in time. Memories of the time he had spent with his wife flashed before his eyes like a kaleidoscope. Remembering the dramas they watched together on the sofa, the variety shows they laughed at together, the quiet walks they took side by side. There was no corner of the house untouched by his wife's hand. The potted plants she loved, the picture frames she carefully chose, the books she often read. Everything reminded him of his wife. Every single object held a memory of his time with her. He sometimes looked at the objects and imagined having conversations with his wife. He took out his phone and opened the gallery. Countless photos he had taken with his wife were stored there. His wife's bright smiling face, the footprints they left together during their travels. The moments they gazed at each other and smiled in their ordinary daily life. In the photos, his wife seemed vibrantly alive and breathing. Every time he swiped through the photos, a heavy wave of longing washed over him. He spoke to his wife in the photos.
Are you doing well? I still miss you very much.
The photos didn't reply, but Seung-woo seemed to find some comfort in them nonetheless. He tried hard to recall his wife's voice as he looked at the photos. Her gentle voice calling his name, her cheerful laughter they shared, even her cute voice when she would playfully complain. Every sound seemed to echo in his ears. But when he returned to reality, those sounds faded away like an echo. He checked the message he had received from Hannah once more. The message contained warm mentions of his wife's life and words of encouragement for Seung-woo to stay strong. He read the message again and took a deep breath. He was gradually getting used to living a day without his wife, but even in that familiarity, his wife's absence was profoundly felt. The fact that the spot next to him was empty when he woke up in the morning, the fact that there was no one sitting across from him during meals, the fact that there was no one to sleep beside him when he went to bed. These everyday moments still came to him as a great sorrow. Seung-woo held the memories of his wife close to his heart, felt grateful for the people who remembered her, and prepared to start another day. His steps were heavy, but nevertheless, he knew he had to move forward. The love and memories his wife had left behind were guiding his steps forward, even if only a little at a time.
Up next, story explanation.
Okay, welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something a bit different, this really moving account. It's called a via in Korean. It's presented as, well, fictionalized, but it feels so deeply connected to a real experience of loss.
That's right. And, our aim here isn't just to give you a summary. We want to really dig into it.
Yeah, explore it.
Think of it like exploring an emotional map, really pulling out the details that make it resonate and seeing what it can tell us about, well, dealing with grief.
And about keeping memories alive, finding a path forward, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get into it. Right from the start, we understand a year has gone by since the narrator's wife passed away.
And that feeling of time is, well, it's immediate. It's central to the whole thing. The account says it feels incredibly fast.
Like an arrow, yeah.
Like an arrow just shot forward, yeah.
It's interesting, that feeling, isn't it? Time rushing past even when you're deep in sorrow.
It is. And the story points out that, okay, maybe the sharp initial, intensity of sadness has faded a bit, but that deep longing, the affection for his wife, it's still absolutely there, rooted.
It creates this kind of split reality, almost. The world's moving, calendars flipping.
Right.
But inside, a part of you feels, well, frozen. Stuck in that moment of loss, even as time itself is flying.
Yeah, stuck while everything else rushes on.
But what seems to break through that feeling of being alone, of isolation, are these connections. Connections with other people who also remember his wife.
Oh, absolutely. This is such a crucial part of the story. He talks about feeling so grateful for the few people who remembered, who reached out on that first anniversary.
And he specifically mentions Hannah, someone they knew from way back, newlywed days. Seongdang Jugong apartment.
That's the one. And she hasn't just sent one message. She's been consistently sending him these little notes filled with memories of his wife.
And these aren't just polite thinking of you messages. He says they brought him incredible comfort.
Made him feel like his wife was still somehow near,
Yeah, like a tangible link back to her, but through someone else's memories.
Exactly. It's quite profound, really.
And he sends Hannah this really heartfelt thank you. You can almost read between the lines. It's gratitude, for sure, but also that quiet, constant longing he still feels.
Yeah. And the story also mentions a couple of others, Kim Min-soo and Lee Kyung-ah. Their warm messages gave him real strength.
It really underscores how just knowing others remember too, how sharing that burden can make grief feel a tiny bit less heavy, less lonely.
Definitely.
So moving from people, the story then dives into how everyday things, objects, spaces, they become soaked in memory. They're like little triggers.
Oh, absolutely. Like portals, as you said. Take something really simple.
Yeah.
The instant porridge he has for breakfast.
And it wasn't just any porridge, right? He bought that specific kind when his wife was in the hospital.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have to leave her bedside just to grab a bite to eat.
So now, even though it's technically past its expiration date,
Right.
eating it just floods him with that memory. Thinking about her, wishing he can touch her face again, tell her things, show more love.
It's a simple bowl of porridge, but it brings tears to his eyes. It's incredibly relatable.
And then the house itself. He looks around, and everywhere, it's her touch.
Her favorite plants, the picture frames she chose, the books she read over and over.
Each thing isn't just a thing anymore. It's a memory trigger. He even finds himself having these imagined conversations with her.
And his phone. The photo gallery, that's another huge one.
All those pictures, her smiling, places they traveled, just everyday moments captured.
Looking through them, he feels her presence. He even talks to her picture sometimes. Finds this weird kind of comfort in it.
Yeah, a quiet solace, the story calls it. But then there's the pain, too. Trying to remember her voice.
Oh, that part, yeah.
Her gentle way of calling him, her laugh, those little pouts she made. And how the sound just fades, like an echo you can't quite hold on to.
It captures that struggle so well, trying to keep the sensory details alive.
And then there's this discovery, a small box in the living room.
Right. And inside, things from a weekend farm they worked on together just 2 years before. A little shovel, a watering can.
And a worn-out notebook.
And that notebook, wow, it's her handwriting. Meticulous records.
What seeds they planted, when she watered them, how they were growing, even little drawings.
So detailed. And finding it just brings the reality of the farm crashing down on him.
He realizes, I have to do this alone now.
And the way it describes him imagining is standing in that big field by himself, it just hits you with this wave of loneliness.
But he doesn't decide to just let it go. Instead, he resolves, no, I have to keep caring for this place.
Because she loved it so much, tending it alone becomes this act of, well, respect. Love, really.
He hopes that maybe her warmth, her love, will still be there somehow when he goes back.
Later on in the afternoon, he does something else deliberate. He puts on her favorite music.
Another conscious act to connect.
And it works, in a way. It seems to fill the house with her warmth again, gets him thinking about their life together.
Not just the big events, but the everyday stuff. Their travels, how they got through tough times.
And yeah, supporting each other. And one specific memory surfaces. A conversation they had about heaven.
Ah, right. She asked him what he'd want to do there.
And his first answer was, the obvious one, meet you, which is lovely, of course.
But she pushed him. Like, what's something new you'd want to do?
And he said, visit all the places they never got to see together. They actually made a promise.
And this story really captures the bittersweetness of that now. That promise is, in a sense, coming true, but not how they planned.
But it doesn't just leave him sad. It sparks something in him. This determination to live now, live well, so he's ready for that future meeting. It turns the memory into fuel.
He also remembers her in their church choir. Her bright personality, how she made everyone laugh.
Apparently she was quite popular, always cracking jokes during practice.
And the empty seat in the choir room. That's such a stark physical reminder of her absence.
Initially, seeing it just brought tears, but now he says the sharpness of that sadness is maybe a little dulled.
But the longing isn't. It's deep. He remembers them catching each other's eye while singing, chatting about practice on the walk home.
Thinking about her jokes again, he realizes they were just part of her lovely self.
And there's sadness that he can't hear them anymore, of course, but also this flicker of hope. A faint hope, the story says, of somehow sharing moments like that again someday.
It's like hope and sorrow all mixed together. Very real.
And then another object. While he's doing housework.
The duck plushie.
Yes, the one she always hugged when she slept. He picks it up, feels how soft it is, notices there's still a faint scent of her on it.
Such an intimate little detail. And what he does next.
He washes it so carefully, dries it in the sun.
And that night, he actually sleeps hugging it, just like she used to.
With this really strong wish, this hope that maybe, just maybe, she'll appear in his dream.
It's such a human thing to do, isn't it? So vulnerable, that deep longing.
He wakes up the next morning. She didn't show up in the dream.
No, but the account tells us he did find some comfort from hugging the plushie.
The emptiness is still there, absolutely. But there's also this sense of drawing strength from her things, from these tangible links to their life together.
And the story kind of pivots then. It shifts towards how he's actively creating new purpose for himself amidst the grief.
He'd taken early retirement a few years before she passed. And at first, that brought him peace, freedom from work stress, time for himself.
And that time led him to blogging. Sharing his own experiences, his knowledge, he found real joy in putting helpful information out there.
What's really striking, though, is his focus. He started writing warnings about Ponzi schemes.
Because he'd seen people suffer from fraud, seen the devastation.
And he feels like if he can help even just one person avoid that kind of pain, that would be the best reward.
This desire to make a positive difference, it's described almost like a light cutting through the darkness of his grief.
And it's not just the big, impactful blogging either. He finds satisfaction in smaller things, too.
Like spotting a mistake on an information board about a local prehistoric artifact.
Yeah. And he actually followed through, requested a correction, and got a reply saying they'd fix it.
And that small victory gave him this real sense of accomplishment. Maybe small in the grand scheme, but it mattered to him.
It proved he could still contribute, still make a positive change. It boosted his sense of self-worth.
So these activities, the blogging, the little corrections, they're giving him new energy, new vitality, the story calls it.
They're helping him move forward, not by forgetting the past, but by building something new in the present, by contributing.
And getting positive comments on his blog or that reply about the sign, it makes him feel like he's living a meaningful life.
And crucially, he believes his wife would be happy to see him doing this.
That belief becomes this powerful driver. He says he wants to live a life she wouldn't be ashamed of. And with that thought, he goes back to his keyboard, back to writing.
So as he's facing this second year without her, The story isn't about him being over it. Not at all.
No, it's about learning how to live with the grief, finding gratitude, finding small joys within it.
All those things we talked about, the support from Hannah and the others,
Mm-hmm.
the memories sparked by the porridge, the notebook, the choir seat, that duck plushie,
Right.
and his new activities, the blogging, the corrections.
Yeah.
They aren't just ways to pass time. They're sources of real strength, real purpose.
He makes this daily resolution, basically, to remember her always, but also to actively live a life that she would look at and be proud of.
He talks about this deep commitment to live earnestly, meaningfully, using her love and what she taught him as his guide.
So that, when they do meet again in heaven, he can face her without any shame.
It closes so beautifully. He sees her bright smile in his mind's eye, and he speaks to her internally.
Tells her, I'm doing well, and repeats that promise. Until the day I see you, I will live a life you wouldn't be ashamed of.
So this account, this deep dive, it's not just about loss. It really comes across as a journey.
A journey of finding meaning, finding hope, and realizing that love doesn't just end. It continues, it shines, it guides you forward.
It shows grief isn't just something you passively endure. It's an active thing, learning how to carry that love, those memories, forward.
And finding new ways to connect, discovering purpose because of the person you lost, not just, in spite of them.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Here's where it gets, really interesting.
Yeah.
This account seems to suggest that, okay, time passes, loss is real, it leaves a mark. But the choices we make, how we choose to remember through people, objects, activities, and how we find new ways to contribute, to give back, that can actually transform sorrow.
Transform it into this quiet, underlying source of strength, of meaning. It's not about forgetting her at all.
No, it's about weaving the past into a present that still feels meaningful.
It really makes you think about your own life, doesn't it? How do the things around you, the spaces you're in, the people you talk to, how do they connect you?
Connect you to the people you cherish, whether they're right there or far away or even gone. How does their influence, their memory, still shape what you do, still shape your purpose?
It's a powerful question to sit with.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps us create even better content.